Two buildings have virtually up to the roof level. Water has come and people, the children were unable to use the building for several months after the floods. This has happened repeatedly for 5 years. And therefore, it's an absolute necessity that we provide them alternate buildings, school buildings as well as housing facilities for them. In Navalapiti alone, I would like to say this, in the Salem Bridge area, Al-Azhar School, this school has been inundated several times over. In the recent floods in 2022 too, I mentioned in this house about the need to have the buildings of this school being taken to an upper ground or to relocated elsewhere. Let me also come to another particular point. Now, I would like to talk about a serious issue in the Navalapiti area. The floods that has affected many thousands of people. Almost 700 families have been displaced. Almost 100 odd families have lost their houses. They had to be found alternate housing facilities. In fact, I had a meeting with the Divisional Secretary of Navalapiti. Honorable Velukumar accompanied me to see some of these areas. Labua Kotua in Navalapiti is totally destroyed. Almost 100 houses have totally gone underwater. And this has happened every year for the last 5 years, repeatedly. Every year during the monsoon season, these areas have been inundated. Now there is one school, Al-Azhar.
You have 2 more minutes, Honourable Member. You have 2 more minutes.
Yes. Al-Azhar Mahavidyalaya Salem Bridge. 2 buildings have virtually up to the roof level. Water has come and people, the children were unable to use the building for several months after the floods. This has happened repeatedly for 5 years. And therefore, it's an absolute necessity that we provide them alternate buildings, school buildings as well as housing facilities for them. In fact, when I met the President, I pleaded with the President to make a visit to those areas and see the inundation that has caused. Now, there is Sivasami Thotam, Ovita, Mahakumbara, Jayasundara. These are all areas which have been seriously affected by these floods, and hundreds of people have been displaced and the houses have been destroyed. Though some normalcy has returned, it is important for the Divisional Secretary now to identify some state land and provide the necessary habitation for them to find alternate accommodation. So this matter I have brought to the attention of His Excellency the President. In Navalapiti alone, I would like to say this, in the Salem Bridge area, Al-Azhar School, this school has been inundated several times over. In the recent floods in 2022 too, I mentioned in this house about the need to have the buildings of this school being taken to an upper ground or to relocated elsewhere, or to see that at least the building ground floor is raised upwards. There is a building in higher ground, but that too had been inundated. This has happened all the time. Then in areas now, a lot of people have been displaced, are living in Jayasundara Wedding Hall and Anuruddha School. There are more than 600 families who have been displaced. Of course, the Divisional Secretary is looking into it. But this is the first time, of course, in the last flood, where the Ditwa cyclone time, it was the Kotmale Reservoir and the downstream areas got affected. Gampala, Gelioya, Peradeniya and Katukastara areas. But at that time, Navalapiti was not so badly affected. But this particular flood, including the Kotmale downstream towns, now Navalapiti too, including Balantota and other areas have been inundated. So this is happening very frequently. Therefore, we need to have a relook at what could be done. Now, in Jayasundara, Ovita, Mapakanda, Godamudana, Makan Colony, Evagema, Labual Kotua, these areas have been totally inundated. So these issues, since it is recurring all the time, now I am told 6th, 7th and 8th that another cyclone is expected. තව සුලිකුණාටුවක් එන්න නියමිතයි කියලා දැන් අනාවැකිය පළ කරලා තියෙනවා 6, 7, 8 වෙනි දිනවල. ඒ හින්දා අපි මේ ප්‍රදේශවල අපි සදාකාලීනව මේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට මුහුණ දීම සඳහා යම් යාන්ත්‍රණයක් අවශ්‍යයි. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ටවුන් ප්ලෑනින් එකේ proper drainage plans and also to look at what needs to be done about
දෙකක් තියෙන ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි.
Yes, about the reservations of the rivers. particularly the streams. Now ගෙලියෝය ටවුම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම මේ පාරත් අඩි 3ක් 4ක් වැනි ප්‍රමාණයකට ඔතන වතුර ගැලුණා. ඉතින් ඒක ඇති වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒ ඇල ගාව දැන් කිසිම ප්‍රමිතියකින් තොර ඔතන ගොඩ නැගිලි හදනවා. ඉතින් මේ පිළිබඳවත් කල්පනා කරලා යමක් කළ යුතුයි. උඩුනුවර ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවට විශාල මේ කාර්යභාරයක් තියෙනවා. ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාව ඔබතුමාලගේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් පාලනය වන ප්‍රදේශයක් බැවින් ඒ උඩුනුවර ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවේ සභාපතිතුමා ඇතුළු අනිත් අය මේ පිළිබඳව Tamanගේ අවධානය යොමු කළ යුතුයි. ගෙලියෝ නගරය විතර නෙමෙයි ගම්පල නගරය පිළිබඳවත් total drainage plan has to be drawn up, and also about the building requirements and the reset area and Saliyapura in Saliyawala, in Gampala, Illawathura, these again had been inundated. Many families have been evacuated. Of course, they have now slowly begun to go back to their homes. Once again, these warnings are being sounded with the Kothmale reservoir warnings being issued. That's a good thing. But now, by looking at this, now මේ පාර මේ කොත්මල වෙල්ලෙන් මේ වතුර මේ පිටත් කිරීම පිළිබඳව අවවාදය දැනට කළාට කලින් කළේ නැහැ. ඒක එකපාරටම ඇරලා හැරියා. ඒකෙන් තමයි විශාල පාඩුවක් සිදු වුණේ. විශාල ගණන් මරණ සිදු වුණා. දැන් ඉතින් පොලිස්පතිවරු හිටපු ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්වරු නොයෙකුත් දේවල් වලට එල්ලුම් ගස් යද්දී ඒ ඉංජිනේරුවරුත් එල්ලුම් ගස් යවන්න ඕනේ. මේ වැඩේ කරුවාට. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් පිළිබඳව අපි සදාකාල මේ පිළිබඳව අපි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙත් මේ කාරක සභාවක් පත් කළා. ඒකේ වාර්තාව තාම ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. ඒ පිළිබඳව සලකා බලලා මේ පිළිබඳව නිසි ආකාරව ක්‍රියා කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය වූ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අවශ්‍ය කියලා නැවතත් අවධාරණය කරමින් මගේ කතාව මම අවසන් කරනවා. ස්තුතියි.